Hey there guys, welcome back to Ordinary Tech. It's been a while since my last video, and honestly I've been a little busy with school, but now that the semester's starting over I got a little time, and I want to talk about a couple of things that happened in the past couple of months, especially about iPadOS. So iPadOS was announced on the Worldwide Developers Conference, and with it came a lot of changes that literally changed the way you use your iPad Pro. I've been using it since the release, and I want to talk to you about some of the new features included in iPadOS. The first thing you're going to notice in iPadOS is a redesigned home screen. Now, for the first time ever, you'll be able to pin widgets in your home screen. Widgets such as battery, which is extremely useful. Now you'll be able to see it at a glance, all the battery percentages of the Bluetooth devices are connected to your iPad, such as the Apple Pencil, such as AirPods, a Power Beats, or a Bluetooth keyboard, or even a mouse now, which I'm going to talk about later. Of course, battery is not the only widget you can pin. You can pin any other widget available, such as activity, weather, or stocks if you're into that kind of stuff. So anything that has a widget available, you'll be able to pin in your home screen. All you have to do to enable this, it has to be on landscape mode. It won't work on portrait. So once you have it on landscape mode, you'll be able to swipe in from the left in, and it's gonna give you the option to keep it there. It's gonna ask you if you want to keep the today view there. If for some reason that doesn't happen, you can always go into the settings, into the display panel, and then in there you can, at the bottom, you can select keep today view on home screen. Another great feature included in iPadOS is the ability to open multiple windows of the same application. Let's say you have Safari next to Notes on split view. Then you can also have Safari open in full screen mode. Or you could even have Safari open yet again on slide over mode. So technically you can open an application as multiple times as it lets you. And now that you can open all these windows, well, how are you going to navigate through all of them? Well, with the new Expose feature, such as the one you have on your Mac. Now you can go to your dock, you can long press on the application that you have multiple windows open, and it's going to show you all the windows that you have open, whether they're on split view, whether they're on slide over, whether they're on full screen mode. And now you can select from there which window you want to use, or even close them. And since I talked about slide over, well, slide over also have a couple of improvements. Apple has added a couple of gestures based basically on the same gestures you use on your iPhone. Remember, the slide over window is basically kind of a iPhone-like window. So the same gestures you use on your iPhone for navigation of your apps, you can now use with slide over. Let's say you swipe up from the bottom. Well, the applications you have open in slide over mode, they're gonna fan out, and then you can select which one to use. Also, you can swipe in the bottom of the application of the window, left or right, and it's gonna cycle through the different open apps you may have. An additional feature that of course would not work on an iPhone is from the top you can swipe down and it will become split view mode with the current application you have, or you can drag it to the corner and it will also become split view with whatever application you're running in the back. Some applications will let you do this, other applications won't. It depends on the developers really. There's a new way to take screenshots now in the iPad Pro. Now with your Apple Pencil, you can swipe in from any of the bottom two corners of your screen, and it will give you a redesigned screenshot interface, which includes the ability to take a screenshot of what you're seeing right now on the screen, or if you're in Safari, you could take a screenshot of the whole website, which is a new feature. And also the pencil palette, which is your tool selector. You can now minimize it to a corner or move it to the sides or wherever you want, but now it doesn't need to stay in your way as you're trying to write or mark something. There's a new interesting feature for the keyboard. Now, sometimes you don't want to grab the iPad or either in landscape or portrait mode, but you don't want to be typing the way you hold it, right? So now there's a new feature where you can pinch on the keyboard and it becomes an iPhone size keyboard that you can drag around the whole screen. And now let's say you drag it to your right side and you place your hand there, it feels natural that you can type there. But even better, it's compatible with the new quick path typing that Apple introduced in iOS 13 and also comes to iPadOS, where you can swipe from letter to letter and that's the way you type your words. Once you're done with that, you can just do the opposite gesture and it will go back to its normal size. Have you ever found yourself annoyed at the fact that whenever you go to a website on Safari, on the iPad Pro, it always shows you like a mobile version of that website? Well, no more. With iPadOS, all websites will open in desktop mode, meaning they're gonna look the same as they would on a Mac or any other kind of computer. This is gonna make navigation of all websites even better. And also in Safari, whenever you go to a website and you try to download a file, at the top, you're gonna see a new icon, which is a download tab. Now this download tab is gonna reflect directly into the Files app, which is great. Trust me, I've used it multiple times and it was about time. Now anything you download in Safari will show up in the Files app because the Files app was completely redesigned. So let's talk about that. When you open your Files app now, you're gonna see you have different options as to how you wanna see your files. You want them in column view, list mode, do you want the icon mode? Whatever it is you want, it's there, and now it makes navigation in the Files app much simpler. Apart from that, it's even gonna give you previews of the files you select if you choose the column view. And with the update, we get a bunch of new different features. If you do a long press, you can compress, you can rename, you can get info. So basically the Files app works a little bit more as Finder would on your Mac or as any other file management application would work. With the redesign of the Files app, a lot of possibilities open up. And it's because now you can use external drives with your iPad Pro. Of course, if you're using USB-A, you'll need an adapter to plug it in. But if you have a USB-C external drive, then all you have to do is plug it in and it will reflect on the Files app, which means now you can import and export pictures, documents, videos. That even includes raw format files, which were definitely not possible before. So yeah, the redesigning of the Files app is a big one. It's one that I'm really excited about. I use it a lot. I need to download documents all the time, and actually to do this, I need to, to import and export a lot of videos. So yeah, it's a game changer for me. The last feature I'm going to talk about is an interesting one. See, Apple has said that it's not intended to be used the way, it's being used, but it is what it is. So iPadOS now includes mouse support. It's under accessibility, so you'll have to dig in a little under the settings panel to find it. But once you do, you can connect a Bluetooth mouse and it will work as a mouse does. What you would have to do is go into the accessibilities feature, found the cursor, and then there you will have to map the different things that the mouse could do, such as what you want a left click to do. Well, of course you want it to tap. And what a right click you want it to do. Well, and actually this was one that they added later on, which is, I don't know, Apple. So if you do a right click, now you can set it to do a long press. And normally when you do a long press in iOS or iPadOS, it will give you a menu of the things you could do with whatever you're clicking on. So yeah, it works as a mouse. The scroll wheel, scrolling wheel or the click wheel, it works as intended. Like if you're in Safari, you scroll up and down. And also the click wheel, if you click on it, you can add an additional functionality to it. So yeah, I mean, it's mouse support on iPadOS, and it gives a different feeling to the iPad experience. Trust me when I say that. All right, guys, these are some of the new features included in iPadOS, at least the most important ones for me. Does this turn the iPad into a computer? No, but then again, Apple never intended for that to happen. It makes the iPad Pro a more pro kind of tablet with a lot of functionalities that were not available before, such as file management in a whole new different scale. Well, that will be all, guys. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you have any comments, you can put them in the comment section. Let me know what you think of the video, or if there are any features that I didn't mention that are your favorite, and if you're excited about iPadOS and the possibilities for your iPad Pro. Until my next video, talk to you guys later.